The internet's favorite furry. The creator of multiple funny memes. The only artist I know of who has over 50 individually marketed names. The artist whose video I promised over a year ago, yet didn't create because I got busy and disenfranchised with the topic. No, not the sewer slut video, that's never coming out. Anyways, my name's Cracksmoker96, your favorite virtual idol, and welcome back to the long-awaited return of the Essex Files.
It's the triplebeppo Super Show!
Mungyodance? I'm gonna call it Mungyodance. It's probably not a name you're familiar with unless you're either a fan of independent internet rhythm games from the 2000s, or if you're a Lapfox wiki admin. For the uninitiated, basically Mungyodance was a series of rhythm games Emma Essex announced on DeviantArt in 2005, and first released in 2006. The original Mungyodance, in my personal opinion, was one of the most significant acts of Emma Essex in the early 2000s era of her career, and it served to create the vast world of Lapfox that you see today. In this episode of the Essex Files, we'll be discussing the first Mungyodance game, the characters introduced alongside it, and how it served as a transformational step in Emma's creative journey. The first entry in the series, simply titled Mungyodance, was initially teased in 2005 on the Neko NSR DeviantArt, a page I originally discussed in the last episode regarding Neko. Many of the teasers were basically just Emma declaring that a game was being made, announcing her ambitious plans and asking friends for help with aspects of the game. Some visual elements from the unreleased beta version were also shown in these teasers, but I'd say that the most significant teaser came on August 11th, 2005, in which 5 new characters were announced to be taking part in the production of the game. As a rhythm game, these characters were to serve as the figureheads of each genre of song in the selection. 2 more characters and 2 fictional groups were announced later in an announcement on June 15th, 2006. And all of these characters together kind of marked the first time that Emma Essex took out multiple aliases at once, rather than just having 1 or maybe 2 at a time, as most other artists did. So yeah, basically, since I'm covering the entire game right now, we're gonna have a lot to cover today. Sonitus Vir, roughly translated in Latin to Noise Man, was created as Mungyodance's classical electronic fusion guy. He's depicted in fan art and official art as a male yak in a suit, with classic hentai protagonist hair that was slightly browner than his other fur. His music would occasionally have vocals, but mostly not. His music was primarily featured in the Mungyodance series, however there were 2 independent releases under this alias. They were titled Heartmender and Mnemonic in October 2007 and January 2008 respectively. Following the release of Mungyodance 3, The Third Rave, in August of 2008, Sonitus Vir was retired, as Emma stated that many of this alias's compositional elements have found themselves elsewhere, and she simply didn't feel like working with this particular set of sounds anymore. Also not mentioned in my earlier recording, however brought up to me by my Lapfox wiki admin friend, there was an alias named sno.lukeav, or snow.lucav, or whatever, who was a separate alias that would later be merged with Sonitus Vir. However, some of its releases were discontinued at the time, so they didn't get rebranded to Sonitus Vir. So, for all intents and purposes, when you see this name, think of the aforementioned funny yak man. Next up is Emoticon, an alias initially created for Mungyodance, who ended up serving a pretty large role in Emma's discography following his creation. In fact, he's still active to this day, according to the wiki. He looks like your standard rainbow cat persona, classic early 2000s with anime hair, and not just that, it's also if you took that cat to EDC, made him do a bunch of Molly, and then took him to the Harajuku shopping center while he was peaking. Over the course of Mungyodance, Emoticon is listed as producing various styles of music, including a Ryu style, popcore, and symphonicore, which, I'ma be honest, I have no idea what the fuck any of those are, but they're all connected with a theme of quote-unquote happiness. It's basically the happy hardcore character. That's basically it. Eventually, this was all kind of settled down, and his later releases were rebranded as Furries in the Blender. Then Ratine was created to replace him. Yeah, my apologies, forgot to write that part into the script after double checking. Yeah, Ratine was initially created to replace Emoticon, however, eventually found a new life of their own. And then Emoticon again. Yeah, Emma Essex is nothing if not difficult to write a video essay about. Under Emoticon, various songs on Mungyodance and features on songs with other aliases were released. Also, one album titled, quote, Everything is Better in Color, which was released in January 2009. As late as in 2020, 2 singles were actually released under this alias, N2O Way and Outrageous Vibes, stylized in Leet speak. Also, N2O Way, I told you homie raves. Under Furries in a Blender, which Emma later deemed a dead joke, there were a variety of releases between 2007 and 2012, which I'll show on screen because there are way too many to read out. Now, Renard, currently Emma's most widely used and most popular alias. Yeah, there's basically just no possible way I can address everything under Renard in this video talking about all of Mungyodance. This video would literally be like 2 hours. But, long story short, yes, he was introduced in the same DeviantArt post that the others were, and he was originally meant for Mungyodance. I'm going to do an exclusive Essex Files solely focusing on Renard next, but just so you know, this alias was, and still is, hugely significant to the Emma Essex storyline. Chances are, if you've learned about Emma Essex through a meme, it was probably under Renard, or Jackal Queenston. Or the next artist introduced through Mungyodance, Kitsune Squared. Now, Kitsune Squared was another alias that had a large role in the Emma Essex plot, however not to the extent of Renard. Many of you might be familiar with this if you were present on the internet in the 2000s. This alias took the form of a nerd-ass, geek-ass rat, and produced mainly video game-inspired chiptune and demo tune tracks. His last release was a feature on FDO4 Another Versions in 2020, however his primary release period was from 2007 to 2009, with one outlier album in 2015. Now, the song that this artist was most famous for was Rainbow Tylenol, off the 2008 Square Dance album. When that aforementioned song, Rainbow Tylenol, grew to viral meme popularity. This meme was so popular that my little normie ass at the time knew the melody by heart. I was watching videos like Ultimate Rainbow Tylenol and World's Smallest Rainbow Tylenol back in like 2011, before I even knew who Emma Essex was. Hell, before I even knew what a fucking furry was. Or what a rabbit hole it would be to study the entirety of Lapfox. Why did I consign myself to doing this? But yeah, thanks for this track, Emma. This one was definitely a banger. Alright, next up's pretty brief. Plusfuchs. Plusfuchs? Yeah, it was apparently a group alias consisting of Emma Essex and some unknown artist. It only had one track release in the first Mungyodance game and literally nothing else. Hecate was a female Tasmanian tiger who mainly focused on pop music. She only had releases in the Mungyodance beta, the first game, and the second. She made no appearance in the third Mungyodance or in any outside albums. Now, Lollipop was a blue chameleon in rave clothing who appeared in all of the Mungyodance games, and once in Renard's 2012 Old Undesirable Audio Files. The genre for this one was kinda dance or synth poppy, but you know, considering how general that is, I can kinda see why this one was retired. It just seems a little redundant, you know, so I get it. Also, that fucking character design, I can't... MGD Crew, MGD Assault Force, and MGD Sound Team were 3 names for basically the same thing. Emma wanted a catch-all label that would cover the entirety of the Mungyodance aliases, and used these kinda interchangeably on albums with Mungyodance songs and tracks in the games that kinda featured a menagerie of sounds. The primary characters depicted in regards to these groups were Renard, Emoticon, and Jackal Queenston, which also coincidentally were the ones that she ended up sticking to for the most part later on in her career. Also, look at this Jackal Queenston art from 2008. Isn't he a little funny little fella in this? So yeah, that was Mungyodance, the first one at least, and the aliases first associated with it. As you can see, Emma really caught on to this whole using 500 million aliases thing after doing this, and stuck with some of these characters for a really, really long time, letting them evolve into their own things outside of these games, with external track and album releases spanning as far as, well, the present day. Without a doubt, the development of the first Mungyodance game served as a great stepping stone for Emma, and definitely ended up influencing her path for years to come. Prior to this, she only ever had 1 or 2 aliases at a time, but with this, with 7 or 8, it was only up from there. Anyways, I've been Cracksmoker96, your favorite virtual idol, and I hope you enjoyed this weird-ass video about furries again. I know it's been a while since the last Essex Files, and you have no reason to believe me here, but new episodes are definitely coming soon. Unless I don't feel like making them. But yeah, thanks for watching, and remember, if you like this video right now, I'm literally going to ship you a 9 I can't say that. Anyways, thanks for watching, and as always...
Subscribe to make me feel better about my regrets.
Oh, and you didn't think I would forget about this? I would never forget about this. I'd like to give a special thank you and a special shout out to my Patreons over at patreon.com. Alright, so, for our connoisseurs of fine arts, we've got Willow Sushi, Walter, Vershi, Thick Melon, Sad Femme, Rebecca, Prisoner Suicide, Mitkit, Kim, Derpy Doug, Cumcumber26, Conscious Junk, and Chairfruit. For our pseudo-intellectual supporters, we've got the one, the only Zucchini. Then you already know we got Misos Al Pinks. Then we got the homie Maroni. Then we got that funny little green dog man, Saws. Then for our one and only aficionado of degeneracy, thank you so much, we've got Alec. Thank you guys all for supporting the show, and there is more to come. You already know, son. You already know. And remember, keep it real. Am I really gonna stick with that? I don't know.